Have you ever had someone break into your personal space and act like you were the problem? What would you do if your neighbors threw a party on your boat without asking and then laughed in your face about it? And what if I told you I let them float away into the open sea to teach them a lesson they'd never forget? You know that feeling when you walk into your own space, your sanctuary, and immediately feel like a trespasser? That was me. On a Sunday, after a 3-day fishing trip, I pull into the marina, dreaming of a hot shower and some peace on my boat. The Drift King, but peace? Nope. What I found instead were glitter balloons tangled in the railings, blaring pop music, and the unmistakable shriek of entitled laughter. My boat, my dock, my gear hijacked by the Karen sisters. If you live in a lakeside town like ours, you know them. Matching blonde bobs, sunglasses too big for their faces, constantly organizing community fundraisers that are really just excuses to gossip and judge. And here they were, in swimsuits, holding wine glasses, taking selfies with my captain's wheel. The worst part? They didn't even flinch when I walked on deck. No apology, no shame, just a lazy, "Oh, you're back early." That's when I decided they wanted to pretend my boat was theirs? Fine. Let's see how they liked being captains of their own consequences. Because if they could break the rules without blinking, I could bend the sea around them. Stick around, because what happened next turned into a neighborhood legend. Let me rewind a bit. Lake Hallister is one of those quiet little lake towns that real estate blogs hype as a hidden gem. Translation? Old money, golf carts, and HOA Karens in yoga pants patrolling like it's Stepford. My boat, the Drift King, is docked in the private marina that comes with my property. It's my weekend escape, my fishing base, and frankly, my pride and joy. Enter Dana and Christy, the Karen sisters. They live 2 houses down. Their husbands are rarely around, and their favorite hobby? Inserting themselves into everyone else's business. Their latest obsession, turning the marina into a community venue for events. It just makes sense, Dana told me once, fake smiling with wine teeth. You're the only one who really uses that dock. That was my first warning, but I brushed it off, until they started dropping hints in our HOA meetings. We could hold a charity mixer on the water. Someone has a great boat that could be perfect. Every time they'd glance my way like I was supposed to volunteer it. I didn't. Politely declined. Multiple times. So they did what entitled people do. They took the weekend I went fishing. They must have noticed I was out. My dock gate unlocked. My boat keys stashed in a hidden spot on board, which clearly wasn't hidden enough. I walked up Sunday afternoon to find 15 people dancing on my deck. A bartender, a hired bartender, pouring rosé. Someone had even moved my tackle boxes to make room for a damn charcuterie spread. Hope you don't mind, Christy yelled over the music. We cleaned up a bit, I laughed. But it wasn't joy. It was the kind of laugh you make before you flip a mental switch. They thought they got away with it. But that was just the beginning. The following Monday, I came back to assess the damage. Red wine stains on my teak deck, scuff marks on the gel coat. Someone had even knocked over my depth finder screen, cracked right down the middle. I sent a group text to the HOA board. Unauthorized party thrown on my private boat. Damages reported. I will be pursuing accountability. No reply. Instead, the Karens doubled down. Christy posted a photo on the neighborhood Facebook group of her on my boat with the caption, "Thanks to our generous neighbor for letting us celebrate Carly's engagement in style." Generous, I was fuming. I commented, I didn't authorize any such party. This was trespassing and vandalism. They replied with laughing emojis. Then came the fines. Yep, HOA fines. Not against them. Against me. Improper marina use, they claimed. Obstruction of community access. They said my fishing gear was unsightly, and that my deck chairs posed a tripping hazard during their event. Event I never allowed. At the next HOA meeting, Dana showed up with printed photos and a binder labeled Boat Beautification Proposal. We propose a shared use model, she said, flipping pages, where boats docked and the private slips contribute to neighborhood morale. I looked at the chairperson, Dave. He shrugged. It sounds reasonable. Reasonable? They wanted to turn my boat into a community cruise bar. I snapped. You break into my boat, damage it, then propose I make it available full-time? Christy smirked. Oh, relax. No one's breaking in. You're just being possessive. Possessive of my own property. They left that meeting with smug little waves. I left with a plan. The next week, I installed 3 cameras on the dock and hidden below. Deck, motion activated, cloud synced. Then, I replaced the lock with a biometric one. Fingerprint only. Next, I made a call to an old buddy. Rob, Coast Guard retired. Now runs a private security firm. Think you could help me with a little maritime education experience? He laughed. You mean like a field trip? More like a reality check. I waited, patiently. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, while I was out of town again, the cameras caught them boarding the boat. Same setup, wine, snacks, music. They even brought branded napkins this time. Karen and Koyukt soirée. I waited till sunset. Then I quietly returned, boarded from the rear dock entrance, and untied the stern lines. A gentle push and the wind did the rest. The Drift King, with its oblivious party guests, began drifting slowly into the lake. No engine, no anchor, just open water. And then I made a call to Rob, time to launch the lesson. What happened next was poetry. Rob met me on the far dock with his rigid, inflatable boat, the kind the Coast Guard uses for rapid response. I hopped in with binoculars and popcorn. From a safe distance, we watched the Drift King glide gently to the middle of Lake Hallister, a glowing beacon of clueless entitlement. Music still blasting, wine still flowing. Then the sun dipped behind the hills, and the reality started to set in. One of the guests noticed the dock getting smaller. Are we moving? Dana looked up, then down at the water. Wait. Why aren't we anchored? Cue panic. Christy pulled out her phone, probably to call me, but I had already set her contact to silent. That's when Rob flipped on the megaphone. Attention, unauthorized vessel occupants. This is a security notice. You are adrift in restricted waters without clearance. Screams. This isn't funny. Call the Coast Guard. Rob kept it cool. Rescue services have been notified. Remain calm and await safe extraction. He turned to me and whispered, You sure we shouldn't just let them float overnight? I smiled. Let them marinate. We circled them for about 20 minutes before reeling them back in, slowly, like fish on a line. When they hit the dock, I was waiting with a clipboard, a printed invoice, boat damages, cleaning fees, unauthorized use fine, CHOA violation report, and a laminated cease and desist. Christy tried to cry. Dana tried to spin it. It was all in good fun. I handed the camera footage to the HOA board that same night. Next morning, community newsletter headline, Private boat trespassing leads to drifting disaster. HOA launches investigation. Oh, and remember those bogus fines? Reversed. The Karens? Suspended from all HOA events for a year. Poetic. The final showdown came at the emergency. HOA board meeting. Word had spread. Half the neighborhood showed up, even the ones who usually never bothered. I walked in with a manila folder full of screenshots, camera stills, receipts, the whole timeline. The Karen sisters, already seated, arms crossed, smug but sweating. Dave, the HOA chair, cleared his throat. We're here to address a growing concern about unauthorized property, use and potential safety violations. I clicked the remote. Slide 1, Dana and Christy boarding my boat. Slide 2, the party in full swing. Slide 3, them realizing they were adrift, panic on their faces. The room chuckled. Then Rob stood up. I provided the water extraction. Let me be clear. These women were putting themselves and others in danger. Someone in the back yelled, Why didn't they just ask first? The board voted unanimously, full suspension from HOA events. A formal apology letter to me, and restitution for damages. I didn't say much. But as I walked out, I passed Dana and whispered, Next time, rent a pontoon. She glared. Christy was already crying. But the best part? Neighbors started giving me little nods. A few even clapped me on the back. Captain of Karma, one guy said. I liked that. The Drift King sailed again the next weekend. This time with friends I actually invited. And no wine stains. In the weeks that followed, something shifted in the neighborhood. People started respecting boundaries more. HOA meetings got quieter. Even Dana and Christy kept their heads down, for once. I learned something too. Sometimes justice isn't about shouting. It's about staging the kind of calm chaos that forces people to look in the mirror. Entitlement thrives in silence. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is float away and let them realize they have no anchor. The Drift King now has a new sign near the helm. Private vessel. Unauthorized boarding will result in nautical karma. It always gets a laugh. So what do you think? Would you have done the same? Or would you have gone full pirate? Drop a comment below and let me know what you would have done. And hey, if you made it this far, comment justice served so I know who the real captains are out there. Like, subscribe, and remember, next time someone crosses the line, you don't need to shout. Just untie the ropes.